Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Height, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2, and hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. We're going to talk about some of the worst trades I've seen so far. People proposing, no brains, just throwing names out there just because. And one of them involves the New York Mets, and it makes no sense whatsoever. But we'll talk about it. And the Bleacher Report put this out. I don't know, I don't know what they're thinking. This one guy's thinking. Of course, hit the subscribe button. Watch the entire this video, and thank you. What's the headline? Well, it's funny you should ask. 8 realistic MLB trades that could happen in 2025 to 26 offseason. The 2025 MLB postseason is still a couple weeks away from crowning a World Series champion, which also means something else. The offseason isn't far away. As such, we thought we'd get ahead on pitching 8 off-season trades that are entirely speculative, yet also within reason. There's no reason. Something stupid. The matches between the given player and team are solid. With some even based on credible reporting from previous trading seasons. Bullshit. This is all bullshit. We've also made trade proposals that are on the both sides in some cases, but past muster for baseball trade value simulated. Who the hell cares about the simulated? Does it make sense or not? The first up, Sandy Alcantara to the New York Yankees. Well, that seems great for the Yankees. Trade proposal. Yankees get right-handed pitcher Sandy Alcantara. Marlins get outfielder Jason Dominguez and Carlos LaGrange. Now, Dominguez is basically, I don't even think he's on the postseason roster. There you go. Why it works for New York? Well, it's funny you should ask that. That Alcantara wasn't traded was one of the big surprises of the deadline. But the Yankees were reportedly one of the teams pushing for him at the end. You can make the case now that they should move on from Alcantara. They are due to have a strong rotation 26. After all, with a healthy Garrett Cole, rejoin Max Fried, Carlos Rondon, and breakout star Cam Schindler. Or the Yankees could choose the overkill way forward with their rotation. A trade for Alcantara would fit the bill, as he's a former Cy Young Award winner who finished 25 on an upswing with a 2.68 ERA in his last 8 starts. Would the Yankees be conceding defeat by trading Dominguez? No. He's not going to kill you. That's not going to kill you. Why it works for Miami? The Marlins obviously didn't trade Alcantara at the deadline, and it doesn't seem like a given that they will this winter. And yet small market, low revenue teams like the Marlins must always be realistic. Alcantara's on the hook for $17.3 million next year, but by their stance, it represents a big risk for a 30-year-old who's a year away from Tommy John and coming off a 5.36 ERA. Besides, the Marlins need offensive upside more than they need a veteran arm. As he came into this year as a top 25 prospect, this is where Dominguez would fit in. LaGrange is more of a project, of course, but he boasts a 70-grade fastball that could soon be of use. And here's the next one. This is stupidity. Nolan Arenado to the New York Mets. The Mets would get Nolan Arenado. The Cardinals would get Sean Manaea and right-handed pitcher, who's a middling prospect, Jonathan Pintaro. Why this makes sense for the Mets? There's a lot the Mets need to address this winter, and John Heyman of the New York Post isn't wrong to see the defense as a potential overlooked priority. Negative 12 outs. Oh, let me just skip that part. This alone should give the Mets some level of interest in Arenado. He's a 10-time Gold Glove winner who remains a strong defender at third base. But here's the thing. Arenado is done as a bat. He's not a threat like he was with the Rockies. He's not a threat like he was with the Cardinals when he first got there. And he does not play as much as he used to. If I gotten Arenado 5 years ago, I would have done that deal in a heartbeat. And I believe he has no trade clause. So he cannot just go anywhere at any time. Okay? Why it makes sense for St. Louis. The idea behind this trade is that it would be a bad contract swap. The money going from New York to St. Louis meant to balance what's owed to the two players. Manaea has $50 million coming to him through 2 years. Arenado has $42 million coming to him to 2 years. But Arenado's 35 years old. That is not a good. Pintaro would be a deal sweetener. He's a mid-level prospect, if that. He's a middling prospect, which is not even at best. Terrible. That's a terrible idea. I wouldn't do that. Mets are better off going with their younger guys and spending the money elsewhere, particularly in the pitching side. Mets need pitching help. The Mets should try to get Alcantara, not go after. The best way to prevent runs from scoring is having a good guy on the mound. Period. Excuse me. O'Neal Cruz to the Detroit Tigers. Now, the Tigers are still playing, by the way. The Tigers would get O'Neal Cruz, and the Pirates would get catcher first baseman Josue Briseno. The Tigers' number 4 prospect. The Tigers have made huge strides offensively in the last 3 years, going from ranking last in the AL in runs at 22 to 5th this year. They're nonetheless a bit behind on times, at least to the extent that they don't steal bases. As Cruz is coming off an NL high 38 stolen bases to go with 20 homers, he should be on the Tigers' radar this winter for his dynamic tools. I wouldn't do that. That doesn't make any sense. That's not a move. And what's the deal they put together? And this catcher first baseman. Well, anything they can get for Cruz is good. I mean, Cruz is basically won his welcome out in Pittsburgh. He's the next player that's going to be going. Yandy Diaz to the Seattle Mariners. Now, again, you got teams here that are all in postseason. Other than the Mets, they're all in postseason. And their seasons aren't finished yet. You don't know where these teams are finishing. You don't know what's going to happen with the Yankees. You don't know what's going to happen with the Mariners here. You don't know what's going to happen with the Tigers. The Mariners would get Yandy Diaz, and the Rays would get Emerson Hancock and Ty Pete. Now, here's the thing. The Mariners still have their season going on. Okay? The Mariners have had a good thing going with Josh Naylor at first base, Ori Polanco at DH, and Eugenio Suarez at third. But all three are going to be free agents at the end of the season. So why don't they just re-sign Naylor? Why bring in Yandy Diaz and give up a player? It doesn't make any sense. These are not good trade ideas. Although obviously they trade Randy Arozarena from the Rays to the Mariners. So they do have a pass there, but that's not terrible. Jarren Duran to the San Diego Padres. That's a team that we've heard a lot of with Duran. The Padres will get Duran, DH Masataka Yoshida, and Boston would get right-handed pitcher Jeremiah Estrada and catcher Ethan Salas. Interesting. Would the Padres trade Salas? He's considered the best prospect behind the plate. He is not something that you could just sort of trade away. And again, you got two teams that were in postseason this year, that did not make it. Duran's the most logical candidate to go as he's the oldest with the Red Sox and least controllable through 2028. He also didn't buy himself much goodwill in the wild card series where he went 1-for-11. The crucial drop in the outfield. Yeah, I mean, you can't trade Salas. That's the one thing. You got a big prospect behind the plate, and we've known about Salas for quite a few years. That doesn't make any sense. These trades are terrible. Let's try the next one. Sonny Gray to the Giants. Giants always have good pitching. They would also get Tink Hence and Cash. And the Cardinals will get infielder Marco Luciano. Okay. Great to see Mobley keen on waiving his no trade clause last winter, but he's already changed his tune ahead of the 25-26 offseason. Okay. I don't know. Some of these trades are really strange. Stephen Kwan to the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers are still playing. They're probably going to the World Series. They don't need Stephen Kwan. And they would trade Stephen Kwan. They would get the Dodgers get Stephen Kwan for Guardians right-handed pitcher Emmett Sheehan. These are some weird trades. Now here's a guy that could be moved, and this is a guy that a lot of teams will be in on. This is Joe Ryan with the Twins. And I mentioned Joe Ryan to the Red Sox. The Red Sox would get Joe Ryan. Minnesota Twins get infielder Marcelo Mayer. That's a big trade. The Red Sox went hard after Ryan at the trade deadline, but reportedly did not come close to pulling off a deal. Ryan isn't a household name, but he's as good at number 2 as the Red Sox could hope to put behind Garrett Crochet. Now, the Twins would get, the Twins are talking like they want to keep Ryan for 26 and beyond. Mayer's only 22 and was borderline top 10 prospect when Boston called him up late in May. If he ever gets to a point where he can stay healthy, he could become a star for the Twins to build around. That's probably the first trade they mentioned here and the last trade they mentioned here are realistic deals. The other trades are just throwing darts up against the wall. That's what they are. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hit 2, and I'll see you later.